situation.
Oh, see, yeah, the light should be in front of you, pointing towards your face, as mine is. But we're live.
How's this?
Not bad. Looks like you're. We'll work on it. It's fine. It's doable. I'm not saying it's the greatest thing I ever saw. Oh, now I've ruined it. He's.
You should have said it was good.
No, it's.
You have to sit through this.
Oh, there we go.
Look at that. Look at the bike.
Yeah. Joel's cool new bike in the background, which is an old bike. Yeah. Nice. I like it. We are ready to roll. Good morning, everyone. Justin here with LethbridgeRealEstate.com. Joel over there as well. Got the new bike in the background. Yeah, it is cool. It's a good looking bike.
So excited.
Is it comfortable to ride though? That's the question.
I don't know. Never ridden it.
Well, then we'll see.
Never ridden it. I just put the forks on last night, put the stem on last night. Well, this whole front end thing, forks, headset, stem, and bars all went on last night. So.
Oh, nice. Well, I see a lot of people ride up that Paradise Hill. It doesn't look fun. So.
Yeah, that's actually kind of what well, first of all, I've kind of set up, so I'm in Paradise Canyon for those who are watching and didn't know. So I kind of have to figure out like almost like get ready for COVID, but not for COVID. Like I feel like I need to prep for like, what if I need to be down here for 2 days?
Oh, it's not that bad.
No, I know, but like for like boredom and all this, I'm like, so I bought like a thing so I can cycle on rollers.
Well, yeah.
So that'll be fun in the winter. And then I also I'm dreaming of nice warm Chinook days, getting out, riding up that hill, going like to the university and then cycling back. Yeah. I think that'd be a nice little route. I
think the way back is way better than the way up. That's what I think.
Well, because you get to go down the hill.
You get to go down the hill. You just ride that break. Oh man. Oh, I have to text myself a photo. I found a cool thing. Speaking of, we'll move on to real estate. That's what I was trying to say there. I found, well, maybe I can't do it. I'll just talk about it. There's this guy in the US. He is embarking on or he did already, the world's longest open house. So he says, for 60 hours, realtor Kyle Olson held an open house in Fargo, ND. Where's ND?
North Dakota.
North Dakota.
Yeah.
And raised $10,000 to combat Alzheimer's, the disease that robbed Olson of more time with his dad. So his dad passed away with Alzheimer's. The third annual World's Longest Open House, which featured hourly live streams and events like jazzercise and chalk art, is more than a tribute to Olson's father. It has turned into a bonding experience for Olson and his son, Tucker, who simultaneously hosted the longest lemonade stand on site for 12 hours on the first day. That's kind of cool. Anyway, that's a really nice story for a realtor. I looked at the my watch big noise. I looked at the photo and they obviously just picked like a brand new, like a vacant house and did an open house. Oh, that's kind of a cool idea, hey?
Yeah.
But 60 hours in someone else's house is weird too.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, a brand new house.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's something that we could do here, like team up with a charity. I know, like, I don't know if they do it here in Lethbridge, but in Medicine Hat, like the firemen used to like stay on, like sleep on the roof.
Sleep on the roof of Hudson's or whatever. Yeah.
For like 72 hours or something like that. Like, I wonder if there's something that we could do to help. Ooh, no.
See, now we got the
like maybe realtors could host an open house to raise money for unhoused.
An open house for unhoused, but they can't come to the open house.
Why not?
That's a nice new house. They already blew that one. Can't do that anymore.
No.
I think you could do this. The Stars lottery, you could easily do it.
Yeah,
that's
true.
Support. Yeah, and they have a house.
Yeah.
I think it's actually an easier gig than you think because it's like 60 hours, but like no one's showing up at 11 till 7 a.m. and then probably not even between then. So you'd have to do the live streams to be funny. Like you'd have to be like, oh, I woke up at 2 a.m. to jazzercise like he did or whatever, right? You could keep it lighthearted, but you'd still get your rest in.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. You'd have to have internet too, or else you'd go crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was cute. I'll find, if I can find it, I'll post it there. But two things. So I got this article from CIBC's Deputy Chief Economist Benjamin Tal. You've seen his work before? He writes really nice stuff. He's actually a really intelligent guy. CIBC, not CBC. CBC, not smart people. CIBC sometimes. Deputy Chief Economist
or
CNBC,
and not CIBC either, or
well,
not. Wait, what's the other? Not. Wait, what was the other one? Every time I worked at CIBC, well, when I worked at CIBC, and we'd call BC, they'd be like, "Oh, the CNIB."
Oh,
no, not CNIB. Something about some blind things in BC. Anyway,
we're gonna get the blind people in BC.
No, we're not calling about your eyes.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Way off. So anyway, I don't know if I can post this article because it's news, but he says we are very, very close to the end of monetary tightening. And it's a long article, but it's not that long. I mean, for you people, it's long, but for me, it was not bad. CIBC Deputy Chief Economist Benjamin Tal said that they're very close to the end of the Bank of Canada rate hikes, or maybe already there. The biggest question is when the banks will be cutting the rates. On that front, he believes the Bank of Canada won't begin to cut its overnight benchmark rate until the summer of next year. So we got almost 9 months to wait again. Financial analysts have predicted that rate cuts in both US and Canada since early 2023, but the Bank of Canada has yet to oblige. While it held its rates steady between January and April, it hiked it in June and July and could potentially hike it again in the bank's meeting next week, which is crazy to me. It's like people are like suffering right now with mortgages, right? And they're like, well, one more rate hike, like that'll really push you over the edge, right? Tal said he expects the overnight target rate currently at 5 points to eventually drop back to around 3. So he's saying it's not going to go back to the weird 0 numbers, right?
No.
Tal struck a largely upbeat tone throughout his appraisal of Canada's economy and where it might be headed. Having the benchmark rate as low as 0.0 or 0.25% during the pandemic was a mispricing of the value of loans, he said, adding that an overnight rate of 3% is more along historical norms. So he is saying, like, you're not going to get 1.6% mortgages probably, right? But 3, could you do 3s, 3.25s? Like we would all be happier with that, right? Instead of 7.
Yeah.
So however, Tal said mortgage brokers can still bring in plenty of business in a higher rate environment. Plus, he added persistent demand combined with the lack of adequate housing supply means Canadians will remain very interested in real estate, even with higher interest rates. The market is eager, he said. The market is waiting for the certainty. And that's what I've been saying for a few years. A few years, whatever it's been now, a year and a bit, is people, when the rates were going up, down, left, right, they didn't know what was going on. They were like, I don't want to buy because I have no clue what's going to happen. As soon as they said, okay, here's the rate, people were like, okay, is that what it's going to be? Like, I'll pay 5%, I'll pay 6%, but I don't want to have the uncertainty. And I think that's a huge thing. I don't know where to go. Yeah, I can see his shadow.
I know. Well, this light is okay, so the sun is coming up, which means making it too dark. So
that's not bad. Okay. Yeah, you're like in the sun. Yeah, and you're closer, it's better.
I totally agree with you. I mean, if people weren't willing to be purchasing a home and paying a mortgage at 7%, nobody would have bought a house 15, 20 years ago.
Right.
There's obviously a need for it. It's just, yeah, like you said, I mean, no one's gonna as long as things are consistent, people will make decisions. Right. As long as things are up in the air, people won't, unless they absolutely are forced to. I think that's probably why we're seeing the market where it is in terms of new listings and everything like that. It's just the uncertainty.
We're going to get to that. I think once this next rate is done next week, we'll finally be like, because people do say to you, I want to wait and see what happens, which is crazy because you can get a rate hold for 90 days, but okay. Here's an interesting thing. He says the Bank of Canada is not AI. He says, in Tal's view, the market certainty that the rate hike cycle is finally over is at odds with the Bank of Canada's inflation busting strategy. If the Bank of Canada was run by AI, he said it would have stopped hiking the rates around the 4.5% mark. So if you do math, you would have stopped there. But of course, they can't do math because they are governance people, right? So they're just saying what we feel is this. But he said if the computers ran it, they would have stopped it there. However,
the world is also, I mean, AI can't take into consideration a whole bunch of other stuff, right?
Like your feelings and
sure,
what color your hair
sure.
is.
I mean, the world's
Doesn't matter.
not binary, like
Yeah.
like AI will see it, you know.
I think it would do a better calculation than someone in Ottawa just guessing and saying it's because of inflation and it's because of this, and it's like he's just saying like the math and the way you should have fought inflation would have been handled by all the equations over history stopping a little bit sooner, and they're not.
True. Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't have been. Yeah.
Here's what he said.
Yeah,
this will answer your question, what he's saying. However, Tal said the Bank of Canada isn't a machine. It is run by human bankers with human worries and biases. Ultimately, the Bank of Canada is biased towards continuing to raise rates and potentially trigger a recession than allowing inflation to remain anywhere above 2%. So that is really what's happening. The bank or the computer would be like, who cares? But they're trying to start a recession to get it to stop the inflation. That means the Bank of Canada is overshooting or taking a more strict stance on the inflation than it needs to, while it may have plenty of economic data at its disposal to make the decision. Tal points out the inflation is a lagging indicator. In other words, it tells economists about the economic conditions in the past, not in the future. And we all know that by now. I think everyone knows that is inflation's like what happened in the last quarter or two quarters or 3 quarters, right?
Yeah, and we're just making the best guesstimate based on that information about what's going to happen in the future. And nobody knows. Like,
yeah,
nobody knows.
Yeah.
Like, had we stopped increasing rates at 4%, if that's the mathematical sweet spot, would it have made a difference? Yeah, maybe, probably. Who knows? I don't know. Who knows?
But they knew they could make more money. And here's the proof of the pudding. This is like the problem with having lobby groups is the bankers are the lobby groups, and they have huge pockets, and they go, we really need those higher interest rates, guys. Sorry, like, or else you're all going to die. And here's the proof, right? Consumer buffers are gone. Meanwhile, Tal said many of the buffers protecting consumers from the worst of the Bank of Canada's interest rate hikes, like 165 billion in extra savings held by Canadians during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. Remember that when they were like, hey, you guys have too much money in your bank. Like they were like the government was looking at our bank accounts going that you have too much. You have to spend more, because people were like, nope, saving every penny, right? Because you didn't know what was going on. Mm-hmm. They're no longer there. The extra $165 billion is not there. As such, consumers are turning to credit cards and loans to cover their lack of savings. Either they are simply not spending at all, or they're diverting their monies to GICs, an illiquid asset that locks up money for extended periods of time. So people's savings accounts are being dwindled. They don't have the extra cash, and now they're spending it all on housing and all on groceries. Mm-hmm. So, to make matters worse, declining interest rates don't mean prices will decline automatically, Tal said. It simply means the inflation rate is slower than it previously was. The price of food is in the sky, he said. The Bank of Canada does not care, not because they're bad guys, but because they don't care about the level of prices. Inflation is the rate of change, not the level. And that's exactly what I like. Yeah, they are people running the show, not a computer. The computer would say, whoa, this is affecting this and this and this and this and this. And the bankers are like, we don't care. Not because we're bad guys. We're not evil. Like they're not sitting there with like cats on their laps and just like, no, the Canada people now.
And that's the thing where I think it's important to keep in mind is that none of these decisions made by people, it's not, I mean, I shouldn't say this so confidently, but there's nothing nefarious going on.
No, usually not.
It's just stupid people I shouldn't even call them stupid.
Really smart people making money for their banks.
Or who knows what the situation is. It's just probably not nefarious.
I like how you have to be like, yeah, but I agree. Probably not, but who knows?
Who knows? Yeah. I mean, and this is where you and we agree with the majority, 98% of everything that you just said. But this is kind of where we diverge in our thought process. Because my thought right away is like, well, this is a problem with capitalism, and this is a problem with our system that needs to be checked. And without checks and balances, it's just going to continue. So
that's a great segue to communism, which we are definitely going to talk about in the next because that is the next option, or authoritarianism.
Maybe? Well, no. I don't think there has to be a complete different economic principle that we need to go to just because capitalism is flawed. I just think we need to acknowledge the flawed system that we all agree is probably the best one for us. But in acknowledging their flaws or its flaws, we can hopefully mitigate the negative part that we're seeing right now and focus on the benefits of capitalism.
Yeah. Well, I guess what was the old say? Winston Churchill had a saying, but I think it's about democracy. But it was like democracy is the worst form of government, except for all the others, and that's kind of like capitalism too. Capitalism, the worst form of monetary trade, except for all the others.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
that's the best thing right now.
I socialism is a four-letter word. I would never call myself a socialist yet.
But we don't live in
BC. It's also flawed, and but I think the two could work well together if we take a little bit from here and a little bit from there.
The problem with it is it's called progressive. It's not called social anymore. Socialism,
because
because it never stops.
The word changed, and therefore the right is like, oh no, it can't be. It's like, no, it's the same thing before. It's just you just change the name to make it sound spookier.
Yeah, but they do the same thing.
Oh, yeah, everybody does.
I'll wrap this one up, but I definitely do want to talk about communism in BC. The mortgage interest rate paradox. So Tal also touched on how the Bank of Canada uses elevated interest rates to tackle inflation is leading to higher mortgage interest payments and a paradox. One of the largest contributors in the consumer price index calculation of inflation today is mortgage interest payments. Thanks to the rate hikes, he says they've risen about 30% year over year. But Tal doesn't believe that the higher payments are contributing to inflation. In fact, he said the opposite is happening. They are disinflationary, he said. They are hurting us. They are hurting consumers. In fact, Tal said removing mortgage interest payments from the CPI, Consumer Price Index, calculations leaves Canada's inflation rate at the Bank of Canada's target of 2%. So it's counterproductive to say to yourself, oh, we'll raise interest rates and that'll lower inflation. Because if you had no interest rates on mortgages, the inflation would be at what the target is. So it's very much a paradox we're stuck in, where they're trying to use one tool to attack it, and that's the one that's hurting us the most, right? So anyway, he says, last sentence on it, regardless of how mortgage interest is calculated, Tal believes there's a light at the end of the monetary policy tunnel. Although analysts have predicted rate cuts since January, Tal believes whether there's one rate hike left or not, that we are very near the peak of its current rate hike cycle. We are very, very close to the end of monetary tightening, he said. So good news, but we'll see.
But we've been saying this since the beginning of increased interest rates. Exactly this. I mean, well, I shouldn't say that. By the time the third interest rate hike came, I remember saying, there are other tools that they could be using that they're just not using because they've never used. Because this is kind of an unprecedented situation. Typically, when an inflationary, when we're in higher inflation, you would increase interest rates to help fight and combat that. And historically, that has worked. But this is different, and they're using the same tool. And we've been saying it the whole time. Like, why are you using a screwdriver to put in a nail? Like, use a hammer. Yeah. That may not be the best analogy, but anyway, it just seems silly. And then 3 months ago, other economists were like, why are we using the same tool as we were before when it's clearly not working? I don't know what other tool there is.
Maybe we're rewind time. Well, the problem is during the pandemic, Canada borrowed $700 billion and then gave it out to people. Sure. And so that is just like, I'll just put it all on my credit card and I'll take cash back on my credit card, give it away, and then find a way to pay my credit card later. That's what the Canada's doing. And now they're like, how do we get that 700 billion back? How do we make the interest payments on that? Because now their interest payment, they were hoping they could borrow the 700 billion at the low rates, but now the rates are higher. So Canada has to pay back more. And that's adding to the inflationary. So when you pump fake money into the economy or into just people's pockets, this is the problem, right? So now we, not the politicians, are all paying for it. Yeah. Because that's the only way they have to. So what a world.
I think it's also important, though, to remember throughout all of this conversation is that this problem isn't uniquely Canadian. It's a world issue. I mean, almost every country in the world is dealing with the exact same situation that we are. Exact.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know if
Rampant
everyone.
inflation everywhere.
I want to see now.
Yeah, it's not uniquely Canadian. It's
I'd have to look into that.
90% of the countries in the world, except for North Korea, and that's really it.
Yeah. Yeah. China's at 0%. Good for them.
China's a
So,
little different, but
yeah, we're definitely not the worst. It goes, the best is China, Netherlands, Saudi Arabia, Switzerland, Indonesia, Japan, Spain, South Korea. And then it goes United States, Canada, Singapore, Euro area, Mexico, Germany, France, India, Brazil. So
yeah,
we're in the top half of the worst that's happening to. Argentina's at 138% inflation. So
that's
we could be worse. We could be
there's
worse.
different reasons for that.
Yeah. Russia's only at 6%. That's not bad. Good for them. We're at Canada is at,
Except what's the ruble worth?
I don't know, rubble.
Nothing.
Yeah. US is at 3.7. We're at 3.8, and we're trying to get to 2. So interesting. Okay, I got to talk about this BC thing. It's driving me crazy. So BC to bring in new rules on short-term rentals to create more housing. Obviously, I think everyone knows my stance on this by now, but the British Columbia government has introduced new legislation aimed at increasing badly needed rental housing, in part by forcing those offering short-term accommodation to live on the property while they're renting it. The government says the legislation would rein in, is that the right way for that? I guess so. Yeah. A rapid rein would be what they're trying to do with the G in a rapidly expanding short-term rental market. Housing Minister Ravi Khanlan introduced the bill Monday in legislature, saying has been an explosion of short-term rental units, and the legislation will target areas with high housing needs. Okay, so I'll stop you there. They're saying you can't have Airbnbs anymore unless you live in the house, and it's because vacancy rates across the province are extremely low. People are struggling to find homes that they can afford and the rapid increase in short-term rentals is making the problem worse, he said. Short-term rentals remove thousands of homes from the BC communities, Callan said. The legislation would force short-term rental platforms to share their data with the province. Every time the government tries this, government of Canada, they're just not going to do it. They don't owe you anything. You can't force a body that doesn't live in your country to do something. Yeah. Anyway, to enforce tax purposes and would limit short-term rentals to within a house-owned home or a basement suite or a laneway property, which is maybe like an attachment to your house, which would be like, I guess,
a drop structure.
Maybe, yeah. Most of the rules will apply to communities that have a population of 10,000 or more, and provincial host platform registry will be established. So we're going to do a registry of those bad owners who own houses. Your name will go on a registry. The government says short-term rental listings on online platforms such as Airbnb, VRBO, Expedia, Flipkey, etc.
Wait a second. Hold on. About this registry.
Yeah.
So there was I have kind of a problem with this registry situation.
No. Registering your citizens?
Well, no, I don't care about that. They know who we are anyway.
Putting you on a blacklist. How's that sound?
Well, no, that's kind of exactly what I'm talking about. So back in my dad has a bunch of rentals back in Saskatchewan, and there was a huge issue a number of years ago with a bunch of landlords who basically grouped together and started their own Facebook page. Yeah. And secret Facebook page, and basically kept a record of bad tenants. Yeah. And they got shut down, and like it was bad. Like they didn't just get a slap on the wrist. Like it was bad because they were keeping this information, and these tenants were suing and blah blah blah. It was bad. Yeah. And these landlords are like, we have a right to know who's good and who's bad. These are our properties, and this in the province is like, no, like that is so bad. You can't say that this person's a bad tenant. It's like, yes, you can. Anyway, it was a big thing. So now they're going to now they want logs of bad landlords.
Yeah. You're being an illegal landlord.
I mean, I know that there are different provinces and one doesn't necessarily go to the other, but
wait,
what's the difference here?
Who's in power in Saskatchewan right?
Conservatives?
Political party. Who is in power right there?
The Conservative Sask Party.
Premier Scott Moe. Okay. Yeah. So that was what was it in BC or in Saskatchewan? You were saying that? Was that where they were? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, BC is now crazy. Premier Dave Edby. I'm going to go into what I think they should do first before they attack landlords, but I'll finish the article. Premier David Eby said the number of short-term rentals has ballooned in recent years, and the government is taking action to reduce profit-driven mini hotel operators by bringing in new law enforcement tools. Anyone who's looking for an affordable place to live knows how hard it is, and short-term rentals are making it even more challenging, Eby said in a statement. The bill was immediately passed, and the legislature moved for a second reading on Tuesday, which might have been this week. What day was that? October 16.
Yeah.
No, so next. Oh, wait. I wasn't talking to you, phone.
It was Monday.
That was 16th was Monday?
Yeah.
So they did it right away. Oh, maybe they passed it. David Hoshumuth, the Canada Research Chair in Urban Governance at McGill University, said the statement that the new policy will set a new Canadian standard that the rest of the country should emulate. Communists. These are sensible, evidence-based rules that are going to prioritize the needs of BC residents and get available rental housing back on the long-term market where it belongs. You rubes shouldn't be allowed to use your houses for however you want. You must use them how we, the government, define. There is so many things I could attack them on how stupid this is, and they're just going to pass it because they're stupid. Like, no one can challenge stupid people because there's only 9 people that make the decision. But I want to go to the very quote where dummy David Eby says profit-driven mini hotel operators. Oh, that's a great idea. You have all these big hotels with all these suites and they have a pool and they even have food services. You should take over those hotels from those private owners and you should turn those into long-term housing. That's fair. That's already set up for it. You even have elevators. You can, they
don't have like sinks and they don't have kitchens.
Oh yeah. Every one of the ones my wife go to, we all have sinks, we all have fridges, we all have.
Not every hotel, though.
Oh, practically all of them. That'd be so easy to do. Government could infuse a few bucks in there to get some cooktops, right? Low income housing solved tomorrow.
Well, I don't know if ever. I like your idea. I mean, there's definitely suites that can be used. There's definitely some thinking outside the box. I'm not sure if like traditional hotels are necessarily the answer.
They have beds, they have bathrooms, they have kitchens.
Sure.
They have pools, they have hotels.
They don't necessarily all have kitchens in the rooms.
While we're being socialists, just cook them some gruel.
Well, sure, yeah. I mean, like I said, there's some options for like thinking outside the box for sure. But alternatively, I watched the news segment about this on, I don't know what channel it was. And the news people should have probably chose like different people to interview about this, because the one lady's like, my business is looking after people's, like I'm a property management. I own a property management company, and my business is looking after other people's Airbnbs. And this whole thing is going to shut down my business, because she's like, I've got one person who has 54 doors here in Victoria and another person that has 120. It's like, bitch, you're making the argument for us. Two people own 170 some houses for Airbnb.
Congratulations on them.
That's 170 some houses that could house people living on the island that absolutely need it, instead of people coming in and flying over. That's a huge housing shortage.
Wait. No. You're way off. You're way off. If I owned 100 houses, how come none of the tenants offer to buy them off me?
Because you're asking too much money.
Doesn't matter. They're just available. 100 houses, buy it from me.
But they're not for sale. They're for rent.
Right. Because we want to put people in houses.
But you're renting to short-term renters, to vacation people who don't live there. There's 170 some houses just between two people where they could be long-term rentals, housing people who absolutely need it.
Okay.
Why are we housing like 170 doors just for short-term? That's 100. Even if you have 20 of them converted to short-term rentals, where there's 150 people that are off the streets in Victoria. 150.
Okay. But there are 8,289 hotels and motels within BC.
Sure. I'm not saying
460,688 rooms.
I'm not saying there's not other solutions.
Why pick on people who
that own 170 some doors, who choose short-term rentals over long-term rentals, are causing a housing shortage? They're not the only cause, but they're helping to cause this issue that we're all trying to deal with.
But okay, so if those people, you said doors, if they took all those doors and put them in one building and called it Fred's Motel Hotel, that's different? How's that different?
It's not.
Right. So why am I told how to run my short-term rentals? Right? Hotels are short-term rentals.
Because you're causing a problem with a basic human right of housing.
Then open up every hotel first, because there's 460,000 hotel rooms available. Open those
I'm
first.
not saying that's not also a solution.
Okay, but
I'm
start
saying,
there. Those are available today.
why not start everywhere?
Well, let's check the vacancy rates of which ones are more vacant more often and just take those ones. I'm sure the hotels will lose. But the solution to attack small people, so there's two guys that own 200 houses. Congratulations for them. They're no different than a hotel owner. They just own different properties, right? I'm selling a $2.7 million property I just listed yesterday. It's 14 units. Should that person not be allowed to rent them or own them because they're 14? No, you can go buy it right now for 2.7 million and it's available and you can rent it short-term, long-term.
That's the
you can make
problem
it
there too, is that like people unhoused aren't coming up with $2 million to buy something. It's all about lower income housing. And when low income housing is being converted to short-term rentals and kicking residents of the city off the streets, there's a problem.
There's no way. There's no way
for the unhoused. Who's paying for it? It's
Oh.
costing you as a taxpayer way more money to keep that person alive on the street than
I think
those two people are making in their 170 some doors. Like it's a huge problem that you can't see because it's just money. It's like,
Okay.
but that's not like, but there's humans involved here.
Okay, but hold on. You're saying an Airbnb is low income housing?
No, not necessarily. It could
That's
be.
what they're saying. It's never going to be. Never going to be.
How much this Airbnb that I'm in right now,
right?
Short-term rental that you're using as a short-term rental, it could easily be rented for what? $1,800 a month,
Right.
Long-term.
That's not low income.
Sure, but it's still taking a property that somebody could live in long-term, turning it into short-term, where a person that lives in Lethbridge cannot live long-term. It's only short-term. That's taking a house for a resident of Lethbridge out of it, and it's converting it to another hotel.
Actually, I bought both those properties that were vacant for minimum 7-8 months each. Both those properties I own. So no one was living in them.
Yes, there's nuance. Yes, there's nuance within every situation.
I'm going to prove there's no nuance.
Not every house that's converted to an Airbnb sat vacant for 7 months. A lot of them were long-term rentals, and that long-term tenant got kicked out on the street so that visitors of the city could come in and live.
Definitely didn't get kicked out.
It's a problem, Justin, whether you see it or not.
Okay.
Housing is a basic human right, and when you're taking that away from our citizens, whether it be or just for short-term rentals, it's causing a problem. I'm not saying that.
So let's say you live in BC. Hold on.
Completely.
Hold on.
There's a need for short-term rentals, but when that need for short-term rentals is kicking long-term tenants out, it's a problem.
Okay. So what would you consider is a decent price to rent a home month to month in Penticton, BC? 40,000 people. Let's just say let's say there's 40,000 and there's 2,000 people struggling. What should they be able to pay?
Well, I know
or Lethbridge.
That's different though, because I mean, house to house, but I know, for instance,
on average,
like outside of Abbotsford, because I'm on Vancouver Marketplace looking for bikes all the time. I can rent a house in Abbotsford somewhere, I don't know the area, for cheaper than I can rent a house here in Lethbridge.
Okay.
Like $600 a month cheaper. How does that make any sense?
In Abbotsford?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what I'm saying. There are probably some places available, right? There are 480 Airbnbs available in Abbotsford right now that I'm looking at that I can rent for a month.
Oh, here's a good one.
Hold on, let me just finish this.
Lethbridge and see how many Airbnbs are available right now.
I know how many, but I'm talking about BC for a second, because you're saying it's about affordable housing, right? Okay. So what would be affordable housing? 1,500 a month?
Sure.
Is that affordable? Okay. Every Airbnb in Abbotsford, you couldn't even get for 1,500 a month. So
Right.
who's renting those ones? 2,900, 3,300,
Visitors.
2,100, 32, 33, 43, 45, 4. So you could rent these for a month if you want,
Yeah.
but they're not going to be affordable anyway. So you could say to the landlord, hey, you're not allowed to be short-term rental anymore. And he puts it on the market for 2,500 a month anyway. Okay. Who's affording that? Is that mom that was complaining that she can only afford 1,200 a month going to go rent this one for 35.61 a month? No.
Well, see, but here's the thing: if he wants to get the same money as he's getting from Airbnb as a long-term rental, and it sits there vacant, well, and nobody's renting it, well, maybe because you're asking too much.
I think I should test this out. Well, I'm not going to
So
say.
yesterday in that meeting, the lady, the property manager lady, she said her company has 3 houses for rent in all of Lethbridge.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Long-term rentals. How
Right.
many short-term rentals are available right now?
165 in Lethbridge.
How many unhoused people do we have in Lethbridge? How many homeless?
0. Oh, homeless doesn't matter. They're not homeless because they have 1,500 extra a month.
I know
And
that
they're
there's
like,
new
oh,
ones
if
in
I
it.
could only get a short-term rental from Justin, that's not why they're homeless.
Lethbridge is the second highest rental rates in the province. And we have 3 long-term rentals available and 160 short-term rentals available. And you don't see a problem with that?
No.
You don't see a connection like that there's a straight line to the second highest rentals rates in the province, 3 long-term rentals available, and 167 or 160 Airbnbs. There's not a connection there.
No. Has anyone ever called and said, hey, I'll rent it out? Like, there's 160, there's 100,000 people here, and there's only 157 that you can rent for the full month. What's the difference?
But there's 3, but well, I mean, there's more than 3, but through that one company, 3 long-term rentals.
Through one company, yeah.
So if there's, I don't know, let's say there's 6 other companies, they all have 3, there's 21 long-term rentals and 150 some Airbnbs, and the second highest rental rates in the province.
But there's no hotels in Lethbridge, right? They're all been shut down. They're burned to the ground.
Hotels are different.
Oh yeah, they're cheaper to run.
But
and they're owned by big companies, so like they should suffer more than a poor guy who's been struggling.
I don't disagree with you. Big companies should absolutely suffer, and there's a huge problem in the world when big companies get to not suffer and the individuals that are struggling have to. That is complete unfair, but unfortunately that's just the way that the world is made up. Everything else we can change.
But my question is, why go after people to say you can't do what you want with your property? If the government cares so much, build a damn property. I don't give a crap. Go crazy.
People are causing the problem, and the people also don't have the resources that hotels do when it comes to lobbying the government.
But the government is so worried about short-term rentals, but they're not going to build one house. They're not going to build one apartment building.
Hold on. They're building lots of houses, Justin. They just cut the interest or cut the GST rate for anybody who wants to build apartment complexes.
Great. I'm on Facebook Marketplace right now. If you want to live within Lethbridge, there's 123 rentals available right now. So there's about as many rentals as there is short-term rentals available on Marketplace.
Interesting.
Yeah. So here I am. See, I'm not even making it up. Here's the numbers. And then you can kind of pick where you want to be, right? So there's lots to choose from. So I call bullcrap on everything, right? Because if I wanted to rent out a short-term rental as a long-term, I'd probably try to get 2,000 a month anyway. That's not going to fix anyone that's in a low income affordability, because I put $50,000 of my cash into a property to make it better.
But it will, though, because of supply and demand. When there's more supply for long-term rentals and that supply meets the current demand that there is for long-term rentals, then the market evens out. But right now, there's more Airbnbs than there are long-term rentals, so the supply is dwindling, and therefore the demand goes up, increasing pricing. Like, that's basic economics. When you increase the supply and the supply meets the demand, then you have a balanced market, which is exactly what the rental market should be. I'm not saying that people shouldn't be able to make money on their rentals. Christ, I survived because my father did. But when it comes to the situation that we're finding ourselves in right now, something needs to be done.
So I logged on to Airbnb just to add to your incorrectness, and I found a place in Lethbridge, cozy, main floor, wheelchair accessible, suite, and I can rent it for a whole year. So what's the problem?
Sure, there's one. Okay.
No, there's lots. I just picked
one.
I just picked one.
One more.
Yeah. So if I want to rent for the entire year, I can do that. There's no problem with that.
Okay.
So let's say I want to go January 1st for a few months. Search. There's an additional 24 that I can rent for the whole year. And I'll bet you if they called, well, there's a nice suited one right here. Upper suite, really nice. You can rent it right now. So they're saying, oh, short term is killing us. I can rent for 1 year on Airbnb. No problem.
Sure, you can, but people don't. I mean, just because you can, like, just because there's one thing, it's like, oh, yes, I will let you. I'm sure most Airbnb people would be like, hey, if I give you $7,000 a month, will you rent it to me for the year? Yes. Well, okay. Well, I mean, again, nuance doesn't mean, and there's one person or two people that do, doesn't mean everybody will. The fact of the matter is, short-term rentals cost more money. Short-term rentals take away from long-term rentals, which is a basic human right, and increases demand, which is increasing prices, and it's causing an issue.
Right. So we should.
That's just economics.
We should harm citizens.
No, we shouldn't do anything, but something needs to change, because obviously the way that it's going, and the guys that have 170 some doors in Victoria, obviously they're not decent enough human beings to see it themselves, and the government needs to step in and be like, hey guys, stop it.
It's such a straw man.
Enough's enough.
It's such a straw man to go after the guys that own 100. They are hotel owners. Okay, fine. Go after them. I don't care. How about the guys that own
I'm not saying
one rental property?
I'm just saying they are exactly, they represent what's wrong with capitalism.
No. They worked harder than the other guy.
That's bullshit.
That's all it is. You can't afford 100 houses. What do you think? You think all these guys are just like, they were inherited $50 million? Like, no,
yeah, but to go to say they worked, that's disingenuous.
Okay, if you had one rental property, how many people have you sold a rental property to? And a year later, like, man, that was a lot of work. One rental property. So it is a lot of work. I don't think it's disingenuous. I think you're saying all these people. I know a lot of people that own rentals, and they cash flow $60, $80 a month. Yes. It's like, okay, so those darn capitalist greedy people getting I couldn't feed my kids for $80 a month. Like, I couldn't give them one meal if we went out for $80 a month. And that's what people are cash flowing on a $300,000 investment. I don't know. That doesn't seem like the government should also regulate against that. Why don't they just take the houses? Why don't they just say no more rentals? You can only own one house, and you don't own it. You can only lease it from the government. That's the next step. They're going down these potholes. We're saying you can own property, but you can't use it how you want. Okay, you know what? Now you're not going to be able to
already do that. Property. That's nothing different than that's happening right now. You can't do anything you want to your property. You never could.
I could have a renter sleep on my pool table right here if I wanted to.
Well, sure, until the renter complains, and then you get shut down.
You can't. Fire door there and the kitchen over there.
But you can't, like, when people are like, "Oh, I can't do what I want with my property," you never could. Oh yeah, I can't own my property. You don't really. The government can take it away from you for any reason, really.
And that's better than
you don't actually own it. Like,
I can rent my property today, no questions asked. What they're saying is, no, you can't. You must do it as we say so. That is garbage.
But they're doing it for a greater good.
Okay, so then release the stats in 1 year and show me how many of those houses have homeless people living in them. Zero. The answer is zero. And how many people are off the streets? Zero. And how many people could afford to live in those anyway? Zero. So they solved zero problem, but they made themselves feel good. Same thing.
Of course, there will be zero homeless people living in those, because they're not homeless anymore.
Nope, they would never. If you took every person that is, why don't, instead of registering the landlords, register the homeless, and let me know in 1 year's time how many of them now live in those Airbnbs.
You can't do that.
It'll be zero. The answer will be zero.
Well, because
they're not homeless because they can't afford houses. That's a stupid statement. You know that can't be true. No one is sleeping on a cardboard box because they have only an extra $1,300 a month and not an extra $1,600 a month. That doesn't make sense. That is not true. And no mother, no person that's like, oh, I can't afford rent, I'm sleeping in my car with my kids. That's not a scenario. That's like 1 out of 1 million of the homeless people are poor mother sleeping with her child. That's the one they want you to hear, though. But it's not true. That's not what the stats are. And I can prove it by just going downtown with you tonight at 9 p.m.
So because the majority of homeless people have mental illness and addiction,
and drug addiction,
we shouldn't worry about the minority of them that actually need help.
We should do research on, can they afford $2,000 a month?
But the thing is, though,
which
Justin,
they can.
with fewer short-term rentals, jacking the rates of long-term rentals, they may not need $2,000 a month.
No landlord is going to go and lose $800 a month. So if you have a mortgage payment of $1,500 or $1,600, you're not renting it out for $700.
Or they could stay vacant and make nothing.
Or they just rent it out for $1,800 and make $200 a month.
Then they'll get fined by the government.
They just rent it out normally. I'm saying, no matter what you're saying, in BC at an average price of $500,000, their mortgage payments are not $800, $900. They're going to be $2,000.
But you're missing when there's a massive influx of short-term rentals being converted back to long-term rentals hitting the market. You're not going to get the $2,000 a month because there's more supply than there is demand.
That's not how rental works.
Everything will even that out.
No, that's not how it works right now. You're in it for a year. It's a market. It's a market.
Yes, because in the market is being dictated by short-term rentals increasing the long-term rental rates.
No, you know what's going to happen? See, no one that thinks anything through. I want you to be a landlord for a second. You have a $300,000 mortgage and the payment is $1,500 a month. That's what I want. That's our scenario. Okay.
Sure.
You say I was Airbnb and I was making $1,800, $1,900 a month, so I was making $400. Government says I can't. Okay, I'm going to try rent it for $1,600. Now there's a huge influx. I can't rent it for $1,600, so I can't even make $100 a month.
Yeah,
I have two options. I can leave it vacant.
Yep.
Or I can sell it.
Yep.
I'm going to sell it. Okay. Let's say I can only sell it for $290. I take a little loss, no big deal.
Yep.
I lose 10 grand, fine. That house now has someone living in it. It is no longer a rental. It did not add to the rental market. Congratulations, you did nothing.
No, but you're only thinking one step. The person who bought that, who vacated a rental to buy their own house, well, now there's a rental available that somebody can move into.
Unless they sold the house they were living in for 200 grand to someone to live in that.
Sure.
So yeah, in the perfect world, 1 or 2 people might move out of a rental.
But the whole thing continues. You know this better than anybody. I mean, how many times do we have a list or a line of 7 or 8 people waiting for the next, or waiting for the just one person to remove conditions, and then the whole line goes. I mean, and it's a property ladder. It's not like everybody's moving in from 350 to 400,000. No, it starts at the person at the bottom is selling their house, or the person at the bottom is renting. They're buying a $200,000 house. That person's buying a $300,000 house. It's a property ladder that you talk about all of the time.
So let's say the person that was buying the
rental is converted to a long-term rental. It opens up more long-term rentals to decrease the price and allows more people to live. Or
the person that bought the house for 185 now, who is like, oh, I'm going to turn it into rental. Now their mortgage payment's $1,200. I just did the math on it. And now they have to ask $1,400, $1,500 to rent that place out. So now that rental that used to be $1,000 is now $1,500, which is no different than if it was sitting on Airbnb for $1,500 a month.
Yeah.
The cycle isn't because landlords are greedy. The cycle is because everything costs more.
But then what you're asking for basically is for the government to prop up rental prices so that landlords can continue to make money. I mean, I'm sorry, if my business changes to the point where I need to pivot and I have a choice to either sell my business or close it down, I don't get to look to the government and be like, oh, hey, wait a minute, why don't you keep popcorn prices high? No, popcorn prices go down, markets change, and I have a choice. It's a business that I have.
Yours is different.
Either I make money or I don't.
Popcorn's perfect. Okay, you're not allowed to put your popcorn for sale in little businesses. Joel, it has to go to Walmart and you have to sell it at wholesale cost to Walmart. You have to. The government says so.
Okay.
And you have to lose money on every bag, but you still have to produce it. Okay.
I actually had this exact same scenario.
You have to lose money on every bag.
Yes. So I had this exact same, very similar scenario. I was trying to get into a very high, big market up in Edmonton or Calgary, Edmonton. And they said to me, okay, yeah, we will carry your product, but I need to buy it for this much less. I need you to ship it to me for this much. And I need you to do this and this and this. And I'm like, I had a choice. I can do it, or I can say no. I could pivot. I can change my business. I can look at it. I can say, this doesn't work for me. But one option isn't to complain and be like, well, wait a minute. I'm a business and I demand to make money.
The only difference is one is government, but you're not saying that. I'm telling you, the government mandated you have to do it.
Sure. The other difference
sell your property
is eating popcorn isn't a basic human right.
Neither is living in my rental property. That's not a basic human right. I don't owe
not
any other Canadian.
Rental property.
That's right. I don't owe any other Canadian the duty to live in my house.
But
the government is charged that, and they take a lot of my taxes to do that.
Housing is a basic human right.
Congratulations. Stop spending money on dumb things that don't matter in the rest of the world.
It's so narrow-minded though. I mean, that's so narrow-minded though. You can't say just because the choices that people have made is a direct influence of where they find themselves in life. That's not fair at all. I mean, it's not necessarily people's fault for the situations that they find themselves in, and they shouldn't be punished.
I'm saying no. I think people should. Why? No. I'm saying if the government's so worried about it, stop spending $2.4 billion on wars we're not involved in, and put it in housing. Stop spending our money on stupid shit.
See, that's a different conversation, and I don't disagree with you there. I mean, we need to look after ourselves before everything else.
I got a text. Watching your conversation with Joel, we have a nice bedroom or two bedroom, 1 bathroom, main floor suite, only $11.75 a month. Is this an advertisement? Including all utilities. That sounds pretty good. That's a good price. Only a knife now. I'm so mad. Lots of applications have come through, but through proper vetting, most have been declined for either income or having bad references. Okay. Sure. So that's what I'm saying is no offense. But if you call me, you're like, actually 3 nights ago, I was sleeping on a piece of cardboard, but I'd really like to spend next year in your house. I'd be like, I'm going to look at the other applications. So hold on, let me finish. The place would be considered just in the middle of the pack of nice houses. Thankfully, the management company is doing a proper vetting job, or else you'd probably be dealing with hassles and chasing money. That's a good point. You're not, you can, in the fairy tale land that we remove all the Airbnbs from the world, I'm still not going to rent it to just anybody.
Oh, I totally agree with you. I mean, when I owned my apartment complex in Medicine Hat, the reason I don't was the quality of tenants. I mean,
yeah,
I've lived my life dealing with this, bad tenants. My dad has one of the worst abilities to read people. So,
gotta get a management company for that.
Man, like the pieces of work I've had to deal with as tenants, it's nuts.
Yeah,
I see it both ways. I mean, there's no right answer, but the wrong answer is short-term rentals.
Okay, so force the private citizens not to be able to do whatever they want with their money.
You never could.
You can only actually the biggest line you can only buy Canada-backed bonds, and in fact, we actually will just take more of your taxes and we'll just buy the bonds for you, and we might give you your pension, but in Alberta we might not. So who knows, right? Anyway, we've gone on this topic long enough. That's straight up authoritarianism to tell landlords they have to do what the government wants, and the government took no other actions. This is no different than inflation. That's all I'm saying. They took one tool.
If landlords were more responsible, the government wouldn't have to step in and tell them what to do with their own life.
I got 5-star ratings on mine. I got good tenants.
Hey,
I actually
you're great. I'm sure
I have
far
tenants
awesome.
I have tenants throughout Lethbridge, and I have long-term tenants here on Laval. I got long-term tenants in Coaldale. I have long-term tenants on the north side. And I do not charge them over market rent. I'm actually way under market rent, where people make fun of me. So
I totally agree.
It's just the government, but the government will look at me and go, "You have 11 rental properties. You're a terrible person." That's what they'll do, and they will not vet me personally as who takes care of their properties.
Well,
takes care of the people in there.
Then it sounds like you should have a problem with other landlords that are more slumlords, right?
I don't agree with slumlords, but if you want to open up short-term rentals to long-term rentals, hotels are there first, and there's 400,000 rooms available.
What
instead of
about
157.
what about okay? What can we agree on this? What about what if we just took away the short-term rentals from slumlords?
Like you do a Gestapo check and
Sure.
make sure they're doing them right.
I mean, we both agree that slumlords are bad. I mean, they're giving good landlords, a really bad name.
But that's what Alberta Health Services is for. They
But they
will
don't-
shut you down. If you want to complain about your house, you can complain to AHS or something else, landlord board. Oh, terrible.
I did that in Regina, in my neighborhood, because you kind of had to.
Yeah.
Nothing ever happened.
That's fair. Okay. Well, we'll see. I'm sure they'll pass it. And then I'm sure Alberta will never pass it. I'm fine.
If the government's involved, they're going to screw it up. I mean, BC government, they're going to screw it up. It's not like I don't think they're going to do a good job with it. I think their mind and their ideas are probably starting to be in the right place, but I don't think they're they're going to screw it up. They're going to screw everything up, and it's not going to help anybody. That's just what government does.
Ooh, the fines, they're now posting the fines for the BC. It'll be a $3,000 fine per day for infraction. Yeah. Oh, okay, fair. No, that's cool.
Saw that yesterday.
This is no different than the government of Lethbridge, and I say this 1,000 times a year. The old YMCA was a great building, and they're like, they only had two options because they're government. Can we renovate it for lots of taxpayer money, or can we bulldoze it for lots of taxpayer money? And they never thought, could we sell it and earn some money for our taxpayers? And that is government 101. How can we spend more money and hurt the taxpayer, and then spend more money and never help the taxpayer? That's all I'm saying. Yep. Yeah, ridiculous.
They're in government not because they're smart.
I know. All right, let's do a quick market update, and then we still got a game show. I'm just really mad about BC.
God.
Oh God, I'll go fast. Watch this market update. You know why I'll go fast? Because there's only 22 new listings this week. 25. Oh my God, 3 people listed since we were ranting. They're probably like, I'm going to sell my Airbnb. I'm done with this. They listed it right now. 362 is the average. The numbers are kind of 133, 175. So there's a few under that 400 mark, which is kind of nice. And nothing really over 400, which is fine. This is the numbers we need. We need 380s to 300s, 250s. Right. So here's a really nice one on Acadia Road. If you're looking to be a landlord, you can just buy this one. Nice. Yeah. Really nice place. Painted, new roof. Yeah, this is a great one. I would buy this if I were a landlord, and you don't even have to worry about, you know, the funny thing is, stop. I'm sorry. We're going to keep on. You can rent that out per room. $650 a room they're getting over there.
I know.
3-bedroom. That's affordable housing down the drain. Hey, but anyway, they'll pay it.
$650 a room.
$650 a room. It's crazy. I know, it's nuts.
About $150.
So that's a crappy thing. Almost
$200 a room a month. That's gone up. It used to be about $455.
$455 a room in Copperwood, actually. 32 sales, 394 average, 97.7% in 63 days on market. $1 million place is gone. It's off the charts. Is that one that was pending for a while? Oh no, look at this. Oh yeah, this one.
Yeah, that went pending a long time ago.
They started at 1.6 and they got 1.036. Yeah, I remember this one. Cool. Good for them. Congratulations. So 32 sold, 40 pending. The number of pending and sold sucks when you're only getting 25 new listings a week. 25 is really low. I've had a few conversations with realtors in the last few weeks, and they're like, where are all the listings? I was like, I don't know. I have a lot coming up, which is sweet. So good for me. Sucks for everyone else, I guess. I don't know. 40 pending, 349 is the average. That makes sense. And 39 days on market. I've still seen a lot of multiple offers happening, which is weird on good inventory. Like anything that Andrew wants to buy is getting multiple offers on it. So if Andrew would mind showing a few of my listings, that'd be great. 88 sales so far this month. And we are in the 19th day, 346 average, 2% negotiation and 64 days on market. I will have to look at your number. I know you took the under of like 157 or something. We're sitting at 164 pending and sold. Oh, kick me out of iCloud. I think you were at 157, somewhere in that range, right? Let's see.
Under.
Yeah, you definitely took the under. And I thought you were going to be smoked because in the first few weeks there was like a gajillion sales. And I'm just trying to, iCloud decided to kick me out midway through. 147 and you took the under. And we're sitting at sold and pending at 164. So it's going to be close. It's going to be a tight race. But yeah, the month of October, the average sales price so far is 346. The average pending is 379. So it's going to be right around that 355, 360 range. So fast market update. Hey, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Clip that. That was amazing. And now we'll just go right to the game show. And I forgot to I have to click all the way over or else the photos don't load. So I'm just going to stall for time while game show host knows where list. Oh, there he goes. He saw us. And then by the time, and I put it in the show notes, you can't spell slaughter without laughter. And we are in Slaughter, LA, but
What?
Louisiana.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's a town called Slaughter.
Yeah. How did they get that name?
No, there's a lot of weird town names. It's spooky season, right? So I looked up spooky town names, and there was a lot of ones. Some we'd done in years previous, like Tombstone, Arizona, and things like that. But Slaughter, Louisiana, we had never touched. So that's where we're going today.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do this one. Do we know the population of Slaughter? That would help us out a lot.
I did not look it up. If you're still biding for time, you can look it up.
Okay, I can do this.
Wow.
I can't type. Population of Slaughter, and then it's LA.
Yeah.
It says 1,027 people.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's
Okay.
not a big place, but there's a
that-
lot of listings in it. There's
Everyone's trying they're trying to sell. This is the first picture.
That is the first picture. It's out of place because then you can see it goes to the outside of the house, and then
Oh, does it go to the outside of the house, or is that a barn?
I think that's the house. But anyway, let's keep going.
Could be.
It's 482 Lemon B Road in Slaughter, Louisiana. A 4-bed, 3.5 bath, 4,909 square foot home sitting on 3.82 acres. Space is abundant with this amazing opportunity. You can have all your family gatherings in this 4,900 plus square foot custom home with an additional 2,600 square foot shop under the same roof. Walk out of any of the many French doors with the 2,050 square foot of covered porch while watching the sunset or enjoying the fire pit. There are 2 master bedroom suites, one upstairs and one downstairs, both with walk-in showers and double vanities. There are 4 bedrooms total, a game room, living room, dining room, and grand staircase leading up to the upstairs game room and one of the master bedroom suites. The large kitchen includes a commercial gas range with grill, convection wall oven, and a separate electric range.
Ooh.
There's new Cypress countertops, which were installed in the kitchen April 2022. The living room area includes a large built-in cabinet along one wall, perfect for your entertainment system, and provides lots of storage. There's no carpet in this house. It has laminate floors upstairs, and the entire downstairs is stained concrete. There's an additional shed, above-ground pool, and 2 large fishing ponds on the property.
There is definitely carpet in this house. Is this not carpet?
I'm so glad he said there's not carpet, because this picture, I was like, I hope that's not
Oh,
carpet.
I thought this is where they got the name Slaughter from. Okay, that's not carpet. I see. That I thought was carpet. I was like, what are you talking about?
I hope it's not carpet. It sure looks like carpet.
Right there it does, but I think it's concrete. Now I look at it more. And the rest of the house is like, if you look at this. Yeah. Oh my God, this is a terrible house.
These people 100% do not have kids, right? How do you have stained concrete throughout your whole house?
They just bash their faces in.
Yeah.
They did all of this work themselves.
Yeah, this is a custom build. Yeah, they did it. I like how they upgraded the countertops apparently in 2022. Like, what are you talking about?
Butcher block.
Yeah, butcher block and Slaughter. Dude, you know what this feels like? That place we just sold in Stafford. Not that, but the house was attached to the garage. It was more garage than house. I can't remember what we sold that for. But this
I like that picture.
Which one? This one?
That one. Yeah, that's nice.
It's interesting.
I like the brick.
Yeah. The shop is nice, I guess. It's cool. I don't know. $600,000. That might be way too high. It might be $300,000. But I just think that's what I would sell it for if this was in like Barron's, Alberta.
Does it come with all of the woodworking equipment?
Ooh, that would be sweet. Like the dust collection does look good. What is this, like a CNC or?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Oh,
I actually took that out of the description because it was getting quite long, but all of the shop equipment is reserved by the sellers and will not remain.
it says Woodworks LLC, so they must do woodworking of some kind.
Yeah, I think this guy with the shop, everything like that, I think he's going to be asking 1.2.
Oh man, the population is 1,000 people.
I know.
Yeah,
You doubled Justin's number there. That's quite a bit of a jump.
There's a cap right there.
Justin made a pretty good offer on this one. $650 for this house.
Oh,
Wow.
easy peasy. Yeah.
I just figured maybe it was close to like, because who would have this large of a thing?
Yeah.
It's town
Everything, you are right though. Everything was done by them. Like
Oh, yeah.
this pool was done by them.
Yeah.
That was done by them. The woodwork, this awning made of a tarp. Ay, ay, ay. This
Well,
one's
at
got,
least he's realistic with the value of his work.
yeah, that's fair. This one's nice. Look at this. What a change. All right.
A little bit nicer. This is 22870 Jaycock Road in Slaughter, Louisiana. It is a 6-bedroom, 5.5 bath, 6,792 square foot home on 9.9 acres. This one's stunning and full of grandeur with wrought iron fencing with brick columns. The living room ceilings open to the second level with upper windows, which fill the main areas with natural light. There's an open foyer and formal dining room with views of the iron detailed banisters. There's a butler's pantry, which passes through to the gourmet kitchen, featuring an island with breakfast bar and sink. 6-burner gas stove with grill, corner sink with a view, walk-in pantry with custom doors, slab granite countertops, and more. You'll find 2 bedrooms, 1 full bath, a theater room, office, master suite, 2 half baths, and a beauty shop all on the lower level. There's 3 bedrooms with balconies and 2 full baths upstairs. A massive game room over the garage with a full bath and closet. The master suite is divine with private sitting room currently being used as an office, but could also be used as a nursery. You can escape to the master bath with 2 walk-in closets, separate vanities, walk-in shower, and a jetted tub. Every finish is top of the line. The cabinetry has custom antique finish, wood and glazed marble tile flooring, marble countertops, and more. There's a full 4-car garage with storage room, intercom system, advanced security system, surround sound inside and out, a storage shed, and a playhouse on 9.9 acres.
Top of the line, everything, especially this.
Especially that shower door.
Top of the line. Yeah, that's like 88 cents at Walmart. Man, I am less impressed by this house after I like the front picture. They should have stopped, like must see inside, and then left there. Couldn't even sweep the floor. Come on. This is their theater room. I love it. It's just a small room.
Yeah.
3 leather chairs.
Like that, they got like a 40-inch TV on the wall. It's just
Yeah.
perfect for the room, yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, that's like that Office episode. Do either of you ever watch The Office?
No.
The best episode ever in The Office is this is where when it was the apex, they should have stopped making it, was when
The dinner party.
the dinner party with Michael.
Yeah.
They should have stopped right there, and that was the season finale, and they would have been the best show that ever lived.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was the TV, and the blooper of him putting the TV on the wall is the greatest blooper of all time to watch, because like Jim, whoever plays that, just could not stop laughing. He's like, oh man. Anyway, greatest TV show ever, or greatest episode of a TV show ever. Okay, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. They must see that shop for sale and go, he's asking 600, whatever, 650. So we have to be more than that guy. But I think acreage wise, this is more acres too. This is a real house. This is the most boring amount of acres.
875.
What's that?
875.
Oh, that's a smoking good guess. Oh man, I just want to go 874,999 because I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to go 874,999.
It's lower than both of your numbers. 789 for this one.
Oh, that's smoking deal. Yeah.
How many acres?
9, 10.
0.9.
Wow. It's I mean, like, go back to that oh no, other one. Yeah. It needs some love though. Hey, like look at the
Yeah. Yeah, the tiles like jumping up here, and yeah, it's definitely an older style. What year is this one built? Like it's either 1980 or 2000. It's gonna have like 2 different ranges.
It does not tell you.
Oh well,
I was gonna say late 90s
yeah, just because the
with the
pillars
kitchen and stuff.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like it could be a 1980s with the reno.
Yeah.
I can tell you, it's hard to sell your home in Slaughter, Louisiana, because that last one we looked at has been on the market for 202 days.
Wow,
The very first one, 557 days.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's tough. That hurts. Yeah, 1,000 people. Man, they should just put some renters in there.
Wonder where how close it is to larger communities.
Let's see here.
Obviously
Slaughter.
not that close considering the pricing, I would guess.
Let's look at the map. Here's Slaughter. Really hot air balloons. Well, that's good. I hate when it's not really hot air balloons.
Yeah. Just somewhat hot, lukewarm.
Baton Rouge is right here.
Rouge.
I mean,
Lafayette.
it's in the middle of nowhere. New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and then here. So
Oh,
yeah, it is literally in the middle of nothing. Yeah, wow. Crazy.
interesting.
Yeah. Well, Slaughter
Woodworks.
Oh, that's that guy for
Yeah.
sure. Let's zoom in. Enhance. That's his house, I think, isn't it? Oh yeah, there's his
the
pool.
pool.
Well, let's see if we can do the thing. Oh yeah, we can. Yeah, there is.
Oh, yeah.
Still has a for sale sign. That's how long it's been on the market. There's a for sale sign there.
This is scary.
Keller Williams.
Like the woods and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Isn't it a little what's that
wow.
show? Oh geez, yeah. Don't get lost.
Yeah. What is that show? Dirt Road here. I know the show you're talking about where they do the thing.
With the banjos?
Yeah.
I mean, wasn't that shot in Louisiana?
Come on, someone, what is it? I'm bad at this. Movie, banjo, river.
Oh, Deliverance.
I typed in movie, banjo, river, and it knew exactly what I wanted. Deliverance. Cool. Well, thanks, Game Shows. You got it. I mean, I got a 2-0 lead on that one, so that's fine. Where was it filmed? In Talu, George, southwest of Clayton, and on Chattooga River. I don't know where any of that is. South Carolina.
Oh, in South Carolina.
Yeah. There we go. Good old Google. Well, thanks, Game Shows. Appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem, guys.
All right. See you later.
Next week.
Yeah. That's all I had. I'm exhausted from yelling. I gotta go. I have to go put a big sign up right now. Big 8x4 sign in McGrath saying house this way. So,
yeah.
So if anyone's listening and they have, $2 million. Let me just find it here. It's really nice if someone's looking for a really nice place. 990 plus, and then my listings, and there. Oh, we have 2 listings over 2 million. That they're both mine. That's a small little brag, eh? 2 million, 2.7, both mine. This one here.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. Nice place. There you go. That's not part of it. It goes like this way, 80 by 40 shop. Yeah. So I'm going to go, let's see if I can see the highway from here. No, I can't, but way over here, I'm going to put a big 8x4 sign that says big acreage this way. And I ordered a custom sign that has like a picture of the acreage on it. So it looks kind of cool. So yeah, anyway, someone has 2 million they want to drop near McGrath. It says rural Carson County, but it's kind of like more near McGrath. So yeah, like just outside of McGrath.
Yeah. That's still in Cardston County, isn't it?
I guess so. Is McGrath in Carson County?
Yeah.
But when I say Carson County,
is it? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it must be.
Yeah, because Raymond is in Milk River. No.
I always forget. Raymond. Whoops. Come on. Raymond. Let's see what it says. There's only 9 houses for sale in all of Raymond. Isn't that crazy? Warner. County Warner.
Warner, that's right.
Yeah. We also have this for sale if anyone's looking.
Oh, yeah.
44 Church Ave.
Yeah.
Yeah. In Raymond, Alberta.
Do we actually have that for sale?
I see a lot of
it's listed, but
only firm offers will be submitted for approval. Yeah, conditions are not accepted. So it's hard. Sometimes that's hard.
I thought that went to
I think it did, but I don't know.
It did, and then the court said no or
Something weird. Yeah,
because of stuff
and things and junk.
I've been actually we've gone on a lot. A lot of people have been asking me the difference between foreclosures.
Oh, I can talk about that next week. I'll bring it up. Or difference between
foreclosures, like, oh, is this a foreclosure? No, it's a Court of Queen's bench or Court of King's bench. Oh, what's the difference between that and Scotiabank and blah 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 blah? How does it work and how does that? And so I've had that conversation like 6 times in the last 2 weeks.
Okay, we'll talk about it next week. Then we'll record it, and then you can just text it to them. Here, this is how we talked about that, and then you have like a little thing you can send people. So, Cool. Well, that's it. We're over time. If you have any questions, you can visit us online at viewlethbridge.com. Lots of information on housing and such there. And if you want to get some popcorn, you can go to Cuppers or I forgot the other place. Decor Out the Door. Was I about to say it right?
Yeah, in Urban Grocer and
Urban
lots of
Grocer
places.
and craftedcorn.ca. Oh, lots of places. So
Yeah.
get it for Halloween and then give it out and be the coolest house that people will remember on the block.
It's expensive Halloween give outs.
Yeah, that is. I still remember the house when we were kids. I used to give out the big chocolate bars. Still remember it. Showed my kids the other day, like that house right there.
Yeah.
So I hope to be that house one day. And yeah. Oh, I'll take a video of my cool skeleton for next week because it's Halloween week. I made a fountain in my front yard. It looks really cool. You saw it already, but okay, we'll see everyone next week. Bye.
Yeah.